Hey y'all, and welcome back to Skyrim Scripting. On this episode, we're going to be continuing our work on the ConsoleEquip mod that we made last time we posted it up to Nexus. And of course, it's built on top of our custom console commands mod, which the previous episode we put up to Nexus as well after getting that working in the past couple episodes. So I promised you we would continue our work on this and make it so, like right now, if an NPC is wearing something, you can save that outfit. But you can't do anything to give them another outfit. You could use the console command to forcefully add items to their inventory and make them wear it, but there's nothing that you can do UI-wise to give them items. So it doesn't actually make it that useful for dressing NPCs, and although ConsoleEquip is kind of just a mod that we made as an example of seeing what it could be like to have cool console commands work in Skyrim with custom mods. Turns out that it's actually kind of enjoyable to use, I think, and people might use it and like it. So let's get started. I've got 45 minutes to an hour. So I think only 45 minutes. I'll probably have to pause. Got some Dungeons and some Dragons coming up. So let's see where we're at. I've only made one change since last time, except I remember now that I told you about that change. Let's just see what we got now. We know what we got now. Let's open this up in Creation Kit. Because we're going to need a container, I think. I think this is how it works. Corn outside. If we want to have a container between us and NPCs, ConsoleEquip, Creation Kit, I think we need a container. I think we need a unique container in the world. And I think the way you do it is you just make an empty cell and you just put a container in it, like any container. So let's load up our mod, ConsoleEquip. Does it not even rely on Skyrim? I'm drinking spicy tea. Spicy tea. Alright, if we look console and look at all the stuff, we have a ConsoleEquip quest, and that's basically all we have because everything for this is script based. So let's make a cell. You can just go to, is it cells, right click, new. Some people will copy and paste one of the existing ones and duplicate it, but this is the easiest way to do it. And we'll just call it ConsoleEquip container cell. It's not like we're going to go there. We don't need to type it that often. And let's see our cell. I want to see my cell. I think that's just the add. So I think in here now we need to go to editor ID, ConsoleEquip container cell. Now if we hit enter, we should see empty stuff in here, which is what we want. Cool, empty stuff. Let's grab a barrel. I don't know. One that actually works as a container. Barrel empty. Ours would have some fish in it. We don't want it to have any leveled items in it or something. Empty sounds great. So let's open this up and we'll call it ConsoleEquip container. NPC equipment. I don't know if that shows up in the menu or something. No response. That model is great. They're not going to see the model, so it's fine. And we will attach a script to it. Let's save it first in case it's quest and we need to do that. Yes, we want to make a new form. We can go to container or ConsoleEquip, see all of our stuff. I pause and drink some tea while this police siren goes by. Oakley dokley. Let's give it a script. because we're going to want to know when items are added to the container. We can track them somewhere, or we could immediately remove them from the container and move them to the NPC, whatever. I wonder if we can get when the menu closes. I'm sure we can, so we may end up monitoring when the menu opens and closes, so that on close we look at what you put in the container and then move it. Otherwise, when you put things into the container, we could like immediately grab it and put it on the NPC, but what if you change your mind? You know? Okay. And of course we could just have you... This is making a temporary container. Excuse me, too much tea. But we could just open up the... we could really just easily open up the NPCs container. And then you could directly put stuff in there. I like this idea anyway. We're learning. Who cares? Let's learn stuff. Object reference. I wonder if it should be an object reference or a reference alias. But anyway, ConsoleEquip. Container script. Boop. Boop. Save. And let's put this here. And actually, this is probably the the container rather. We might not want a script on the base object. Hello container. Oh yeah, we do. Cool, it's got it right here. I don't know if you can add to just instances. But here's our container. So do we want this reference in the world? Script reference editor ID ConsoleEquip container instance, because we need an instance of it in the world, and then we'll go to our quest and our player script and we'll give it a reference to that. We'll just tweak the code here so that we can make a property real quick, and although it may not be able to compile our script. Let's see what's in it. Got all kinds of stuff like SKSE stuff. It may not be able to compile this stuff. Let's see if it can compile at all. No, it can't. That's fine. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. We'll save. Let's bail. Go code. Go to our little explorer. Looks like we actually already have this up and running. Let me close everything though. Let's go to our, there's our container script. Here's our player script. For a screencast I was doing, I changed where the imports came from. So let me close this and open it up again. We're using Vortex, you don't get to rename things. Anyway, all right, so that is cool and it's hooked up. I want a property on here. I want an object reference to this. Save build. Cool deal. Creation kit. We could have done that with creation kit running. Meh, haven't learned. I just really wanted it so I had more time to drink my tea. Okay. And ConsoleEquip quest aliases. There's the dog. Let's see if I can autofill it. We can autofill it. Cool. We've got a reference to this exact container. Save. We can just go in game and like open the container or something. And we have a command line interface, so we can even use that. Let's do if you pass the Let's do it here in our player script. I haven't changed my keyboard shortcuts. Cool. I reformatted my PC this morning for a different screencast. So let's just make a new event called test or whatever on test command. And then on test command, let's activate the container. I think that's how you do it. You give it an activator. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Object reference, activate. I think I saw that you just pass the, I think we can pass this player script. I think we can pass ourselves. No. Get actor reference. Does it build? It builds. Let's see what happens. I wish like all the sounds outside would just cease when I'm screencasting. Cool, let's close this. Oh, there's a barrel or something. It says NPC equipment, so that's cool. And can we put stuff in it? And then switch back to NPC equipment. This would be so much easier to, okay, store, gotcha, store. What would this look like if we had Sky UI? I'm so not used to that interface, the one that I'm just looking at right now. And I bet you're not if you're a modder either. That UI probably looks really foreign to you. So let's look at what actual users, like actual modders see. I keep Sky UI uninstalled just to make sure that things work with vanilla, you know, as close to vanilla as possible. So we'll install it and we'll turn it on. Sky UI. If we wanted to make a MCM configuration menu, we would need one additional dependency, the Sky UI SDK. Test. Cool, it shows that, and then here's the prisoner. Let's put a bow in it or something. Cool. And now, can we get just like when that menu closes? This is probably just called like container menu. Let's just guess. I'm just gonna guess. And we can go to UI on Creation Kit, the UI script, and we can get a list of all the valid menus. Let's try is menu open. It's probably just container menu. Cool. Let's just subscribe to when it opens and when it closes. We care about when it opens and when it closes. We can really just, after we activate our object, then we'll subscribe to when it closes. And once it closes, we can unsubscribe. Does that make sense? Just making this up as I go along on test command. On test command, here's what we're going to do. On menu open, we need to subscribe to it. I think it's register for menu. Container menu. on menu open and on menu close is what we're going to get. And we're in a player script, which is good because we've got state that we can use. These are events. I wonder if it's not an event if you call it a function, if it still works. Menu name on close. Alright, cool. So register for menu, and then we can unregister for the menu. Container menu after it is closed. So let's just debug.trace, or we can message box so that we don't have to look at the logs. We'll just say open. And we'll add the menu name, although we know it has to be the container menu. Well, yeah, this script is only listening for the container menu, so debug, menu box, close, and menu name, save build. Cool. Because when we close it, we could get stuff that's in the container and move it to the NPC. And then that gives you an opportunity to add stuff to the container, remove stuff, and like decide when you're ready. Or if you want to cancel, you can just move everything back out. So, how long do I have? I've got some time. Test. Open container menu. Cool. We just guessed this stuff. Cool, we can add some stuff to it. Oops, I think I just drank them. No, I put them over there. Because SkyUI knows what it's doing. And let's close it. Cool. So we could print out everything that's in there. Let's piece out. And on menu close, let's take everything out of our container. And if there's an active NPC, what we could do is, if you say equip Bob or Sally dress, that alias has to exist or we'll give you an error. If they do exist, then we'll have a reference to them. And so we can just run into town and we can test this really quickly. Right now, let's just print out everything that they have when the menu gets closed. So let's just say string text, a string items, place some items placed into container, new line. We don't actually care about on menu open. And then we have the container instance, and we could probably say get num items. I think this is an SKC function. And index equals 0. While index is less than the num of the items. And our while, make sure that we index, increment that index. And then we will get the name of the current item. So we'll say form item equals container instance got get item. How about let's just do nth. Get nth form index. And we could say how many you have, how many we put there. We do need the amount because you could give them 50 arrows and we don't want to give the NPC 1. So int item count equals get the item count of a specific form. And then we want to just add this to our the items text that we're printing out. I'm just going to call this the text because the item sounds like it could be an array. Text equals, let's just add a dash plus item. Let's dash plus item count times like how many of them space, and then the item name, which again we have because we have SKSE. And then at the end we'll debug message box text. Cool, 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 cool. Still am looking for recommendations on different cells other than Riverwood. Ones that are pretty and mostly secluded, but you need to be able to run to people like this. Oh, I guess we don't need to run to people quite yet. We haven't hooked this up to NPCs quite yet. Let's just close out of it. Okay, items placed into container. Now let's test again, and let's add some stuff in there. Potion, add 10 lockpicks, and shield. Cool. Bail. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da! We did a thing. Okay. So, we need a dress command, which will only work if you give them an alias. At some point I want to refactor this thing. I'll do it between episodes so you don't have to sit with me to make the whole thing alias based. I think we put that into our notes last time. I think it's right here, equip command. I wanted to stop passing around actors and NPCs. Maybe I'll do that while I watch Dungeons and Dragons later. Yeah, I'll totally do that. But let's get around it for right now, and let's just, even if we have to do something hacky, note list outfits isn't implemented yet, so let's comment that out so it doesn't confuse us. Dress NPC. It needs to be global, and we're going to need to get some stuff. We need the alias. NPC from alias. Cool. So it gets an actor, which will be either the player or an NPC. Which so far in this file we're calling player, but we'll fix. We'll actually say if player equals the game player. And then we'll piece out and say miscutil.print console, you cannot dress the player, and just return it. We don't have a reference to the player script. I still don't know if that's really possible from a global function or a global script unless you pass things along. So that's rough. I should have done this from the get-go. I should have done ConsoleEquip player script. Duh. And this is a little bit hacky, but we'll just give the player script to that function. It's hacky because it's unconventional with all of the other things, and it's just adding a lot of dependencies between these functions. But it's something that we can clean up, and this gets us a working implementation, but definitely not super releasable. I don't want to release this until it goes through a refactor phase. So player script on ConsoleEquip player script. Cool. So it's the player script that has the event. That's rough. That's rough, that's rough, that's rough. Let me think. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some kind of event delegation. Whenever the menu closes, we're going to call a global script. Function on menu close, string menu name, global, and function, menu name, and ConsoleEquip player script. Kind of want these in the flipped order, but whatever. On menu close, we will call equip command dot on menu close menu name and self, which is the player script. Now we don't need our test command anymore. We can stop registering it. We know how to activate the reference. And we know that at that moment we want to start registering for the close. So what we're going to do is, when you call dress NPC, we're going to use this player script, and we're going to ask the player script to start listening to the menu. Register for menu, container menu. Then we're going to player script dot activate the instance and give it the player script actor reference as what activated it. So now player script is listening, and when player script gets on menu close, it'll delegate here, and then on menu close here we can player script dot unregister menu for menu container menu. So now dress has done this, and then when we get a menu close, we can kind of we can dress the NPC, but we need to know who's being dressed. So we need state, and this is a downside of global stuff. So I'm just going to be kind of lazy here, and I'm going to give this a string property, the player script, and I'm going to say property current NPC alias, and it'll be an auto. I don't know how this would work with threading and stuff, but we're going to say that the player script dot current NPC alias equals. Right now we have an actor. I don't want that. I really don't want that, but we'll roll with it. And we'll say current NPC. So we'll say that the current NPC is the player. Having the player state allows the script allows us to store some state, and actually we should set a convention, and this is very Python-ish, for all of our global functions to accept a player script. We could just call it PS or something if you really wanted to abbreviate, because it gets long. So there's that. So now when the menu closes, we have actually a reference to the actor, and if that reference has been cleared or something, we will actually set the player script once we're done with them. We'll clear out the current NPC. We'll set them to none. But now we want to transfer all the items from the container into the NPC's container. So I think we'll just be making copies and then emptying the container. Did we already do the activate? Yeah, we did activate. So we don't need any of that. Let's pull this over. Why are you upset? Oh. We're not passing the player script. What argument is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be the last argument, the third argument. I don't love this, but whatever, it works. Presumably. And back over here in our giant form thingy, we'll bring this over. So we did unregister for menu. We don't care about building up text. But we do want to go through items. We could throw some kind of error here if the, you know, if not player script dot current NPC util dot no reference to sure, you might want to debug trace that, but whatever. You could set up something where you say equip command util.error, give it a message, and it'll print console just error, and then it'll debug trace the full error. That's a common kind of programming thing, so you hide some of the nonsense gibberish from the player, except modders really like error messages so that they can give them, put them on the post on Nexus mods. Anyway, so we'll return in that case. Let us uncomment these. Okay, we haven't compiled in a while. Let's see the compiler work. Cool. And it looks like I actually have packaging on at the moment, which we don't need. So, for each one of these, what we are going to do is we're going to player script dot current NPC dot add item. Here's a question. Can you, when you remove an item, do you get a reference to the item? I think I've seen people do this before. When they hand things off, they remove it and they use that as the parameter to the add. I want to double check. If we take our container and we remove an item from it, cool, it doesn't, okay, you can give it other container pool. That's what you can do. So let me zoom out. So you can remove it and put it in another container, and our other container is the current NPC. So we're putting this in the player script dot current NPC. There's the item to remove, there's the count. Let's do this. The item count, the we can keep the default for silent, and we'll say ak other container equals cool. Let's try and give someone like a ridiculous helmet or something. 10 in game. Am I out of tea? I don't have a lot of time left, but we've done a ton in 35 minutes. See if we can give this ridiculous helmet to someone.
A dragon! I saw a dragon!
What? What is it now, Mother?
So, you equip add Bob. Equip dress Bob. Of course we have to close that. Oh, we could trigger closing the console. Let's write that down. Trigger console close. I think I know how to do that. And then we could even reopen it afterwards if we really wanted to, but we won't. So let's just give them our ridiculous helmet. And let's tab out.
What?
And
what is it
let's
now,
look at
Mother?
the top left corner.
Black
It didn't
as
say
night.
anything. But what we can do is they're currently selected. No reference to current actor found. You did say dress Bob. Why is there no reference to the Bob? Who's the Bob?
Right.
Bummer. I felt like that was going to do it, right? See what police siren. Swear to God. I changed this a little bit. It's a little bit hackier than I would like. Get actor from alias name. If NPC or alias, player NPC. Player NPC should always let's use player NPC, not the alias. I'm a goof. We were passing a string. Well done, us. Well done indeed. Gotta turn off that PowerShell, it's really annoying. I never want you PowerShell. Not in this scenario. We'll get
A dragon! I saw a dragon!
What? What is it now?
I really want to have it trigger the console close.
Mother.
It was as big as...
Okay, now let's show our inventory. Let's see if it's in there. It's there. Let's equip it on them. And then we'll close the console. So let's put it in their inventory. And then let's see if this will work. It's a base item, so okay. Let's do AB prevent removal equals true. But we'll keep silent at its default of false. But it didn't show it. That's maybe only if the target container is the player. Otherwise it doesn't show anything. Kinda wanted to see you gave blah to blah. Now this is a scenario where I shouldn't be COCing the Riverwood because I've just run so far I should be COCing.
A dragon! I saw a dragon!
Did you see a dragon? That's so interesting.
What? What is it now, Mother?
Cool. And then obviously
Dragon.
we could do Sally save. And helmet's going to stay on, so we'll still call this town. And then let's give her some other stuff. Let's see, Sally a dress. So we can have 2 outfits. The gauntlets and my boots. I don't know if a shield and sword will work through the equip item, but we'll find
How
out.
is it?
But I
Please,
tell you,
Mother.
I
They
saw.
do. So let's see, Sally. Save combat. That means we can Sally wear town
You keep
Dragon.
on like this,
and Sally wear combat.
and town will think you're crazy.
And what's obviously great is we don't need a reference to her anymore on the
I've got
console.
better
We
things
can
to
do
do than
whatever
listen
we
to
want,
all
and we can
fantasies.
wherever she's in the
You'll
world,
see.
battle switch
It was-
over. So kind of out of time, but I do want to see if we can close the menu. So to close the menu, I'm going to go to Skyrim Special Edition data folder, and I'm going to extract the interface BSA to download so that we can take a closer look at it and open up the console Swift. So we're headed to downloads, interface, and we're going to open up the console Swift. Note it all. Might open up on my other screen, it always does. And let's just look for, I think it's just probably close console. Maybe it's hide. Hide. Let's try hide. Keep that open. So let us try this. Where is it that we want to close the console? We want to close it here. So hide. We're not going to pass anything to it, right? It doesn't take any arguments. So we'll just do UI invoke. We're not passing any of these things, so just invoke console. Is it console menu? I think it's just console. And then we'll do global.console.hide. It could be console instance, but let's just try this. And then I want to make sure that we can bring it back, that it doesn't like hide it and we broke it somehow. Solitude, winking, skeever, somewhere where there's people right next to us. Although they're all going to be outside at the execution. There's, I'm not going to do this with a child.
If you need a good room,
Bob. This is what we're looking for. It's Bob dress. Her name is Bob. Save town is what I wanted. It went away. Can we reopen it? We can. It went away. Sweet. Let's give him the helmet and let's call it a day. Oops. Close
What's
out.
Rob here anymore?
We can Bob save helmet.
I
And
can.
now, of course, we can Bob wear town
But he wouldn't.
or Bob wear helmet.
I mean, why not?
And we can dress him some more with whatever we want. Sweet. And the console goes away. I love it. I love it. I love it. Woo! Yeah. I have a shield. I have a sword. I have my boots and my gauntlets and a longbow. And we'll see what they pick. I was going to equip all of them, so whatever the last one we give them will be equipped. So tab out of there. All kinds of stuff. There's my boots. Alright. 45 minutes, not bad. I got a bail. Let's do my little, this thingy. We passed items to NPCs using the whatchamacallit. One thing I didn't do was save. I'll say pass items to NPCs, and I will save, and I'll push it on up to them GitHubs. And it's pushed. I keep looking over there because that's where I am. That's where I can see myself. So, sweet. That was fun. Okay. Yeah, and it worked kind of exactly the way that I thought it would work. Who would have thunk it? Cool. You maybe wouldn't have thought to put an instance of a barrel in some random cell, but I had seen that in like a Dark Fox video or someone else, just to like when you need a container. But I hadn't done any of the scripting with the container, so that was fun, right? Cool. I want to do a bunch of refactoring to this, and I'm going to do it while I watch the Dungeons and the Dragons. So peace out, and as always, happy modding. Thank you all.